Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Angela Neufeld here from CreateHealShine. So excited to be talking for day 53 of the Going Live for 90-Day Challenge. And today, something that's on my heart is about the weight of starting over. The heavy weight of starting over. So many times I've thought of this in different aspects of my life, and I remember how starting over in some time in my life felt so freeing and so beautiful and so wonderful, and other times it's felt so heavy and like such a burden. And so if you know anyone who has dealt with this or is dealing with this, share this live stream and share this with them if you think it could help somebody else. I also post these videos, my live videos, into my YouTube account, CreateHealShine, after, and so you can watch it again if you are interested or miss some or have to go. But yes, I remember those moments where things felt so fresh and freeing and divine and inspiring about starting again. It's kind of like when you buy a new vehicle or you buy a new house and you move your stuff, or you rent a house or whatever, you move and then you take everything down and pack everything away. And in that, there's a sense of sadness maybe, and memories, or excitement or happiness or inspiration to get out of there. Like it could be anything, or grief if you're forced to move. But then there's the unpacking at the new place, which is exciting and can be creative, or it can be something you dread, and maybe you sit there with boxes surrounding you for weeks and you don't even know where to begin. Maybe it's not inspiring and it wasn't your choice. And then I remember moments of times where I had some sort of health crisis, and because I've had many, one definitely takes the cake over the rest. And in that crazy moment, I remember thinking there was so much weight, and the thought of starting again was like the absolute biggest burden ever. And how would this look? What would I do? And where will I live? And who will be my doctor? And how will I work? And where will I work? And what will people think of me? And what do they think of me now? And how do they see me? That was a big one. Like, how do they see me? Do they see me as a sick person who's not going to get better? Do they see me as this inspiring person who is showing them strength and inspiration? Or do they see me as this helpless person? Like, there's so many different thoughts that go through your mind. And for some people, there's just a heavy, heavy weight of what starting over could look like. And for all of these different things and weights and stress and circumstances, what helped me get through all of this was going to something so simple as gratitude. So simple. Something small. So the day I got out of the hospital, not after my transplant, but after living in there for 3 months waiting for this diagnosis. In between, I got to get out and go home for a little while in between waiting to be listed for an organ transplant. And I said, drive me straight to the lake. And they're like, for what? Like, I could barely walk. I was a skeleton. And I thought, I don't care. I need to go to the lake. And I jumped out of the car and I walked all the way down the hill and walked straight into the water with all my clothes on. And I didn't have the energy to swim, but I stood there and I let the water run over me, and it just felt so good. And it was just something that I was missing so much for so many years because I couldn't breathe. And everyone was staring at me. I looked like a like I said, a complete skeleton. I was 30 pounds less than I am now, and that was skin and bone for me. And I think people looked at me just like, weird, what is this lady doing? And I didn't care about anything. And I went right under the water, and I just sat under the water for a while, and before I popped up, and I just felt so freeing. So freeing. I didn't want to leave there. And then I turned around to go back to the car and realized that I had walked my way down the hill to the lake. Now, how am I going to get back up the hill to the car in end of stage heart failure? So it took probably 5 minutes to go down to the lake, and it took probably 25 minutes to go back up the hill to the car. Meanwhile, they're still staring at me like, what's this lady doing soaking wet in her street clothes? It was the middle of the hot summer, and that's all I could think of was that. And I was just so grateful to be able to do that. I thought if I only have one more time to go in the water, that I'm going to make it worth it. This might be my last time I go in the lake. This might be the last time I'm in this place, at this beach where I grew up. So there's so many times that I can go back to these moments of thinking about the weights of change and the weight of starting over and what it could look like, or if it was even going to come. But for most people, we have a choice. You have a choice to make a fresh start now. And as I was leaving the lake, I remember kind of having the window rolled down with my arm out the window, and I was just thinking, I was just letting the sun hit me and feeling the wind on my hand. And I would look down, and I remember we were driving along a straight stretch, and it was all dandelions on the side of the road, and they were slightly blowing in the wind, like just a slight breeze as the car made them blow by, and the little white things as we blow by were flying all over, and they were just like this, wispy. And it was just so grateful for seeing these dandelions, movement, water, life. It felt so good, it felt so nice, it felt so true. And there's so many thoughts that go through your mind about, if I do make it, how is everything going to look? How do I want things? And the thought of that didn't come till later. It's like your mind in that crisis moment, it can't go there. It can't really grasp, what do I want? Because all you want to do is make it. And then you decide, once you've made it and you're alive, if you can get there, I'll figure it out. And so I didn't try and figure out the next 20 steps. I just focused on the next right step, the next small step. And the next step was staying grateful for everything, even the little dandelions, even the cool water on my face, the ability to still take a few steps. And then we can focus on the next step when it comes. And the next step after that when it comes. Because we love to get ahead of ourselves and be focused on 20 more steps from now and how everything's going to be. And I think that serves us. It does not serve us the way we think it's going to serve us, especially if we're entrepreneurs and business and things like that, because we can have goals and dreams and things, but taking the next step is what counts, rather than focusing on the 100 steps that are going to come after the first 100. Because we'll get there when we get there. And so I just kept focusing on gratitude and focusing on thankfulness and focusing on the small things and focusing on things like this. Focusing on my pets, focusing on life, the beauty of every small little rock, that's unique, leaf on a tree. That's how you get through. That's how you get through all of the concern about what it's going to look like and how do I start again. And then the beauty of it when you actually choose to think about the possibilities and what's available and what's next. It's like a whole wide world cracks open for you, and you're allowed to think as far and dream as far as you want. And that there is the inspiration for continuing to go. And then as we do those small little steps, we start shedding that identity, that old identity of who we were. Not remembering them, not getting rid of them, just shedding and becoming the more higher version of ourselves, the best version of ourselves, the truest, most authentic version of ourselves, slowly, slowly, slowly. And that is where everything starts changing, because you're embodying all of the gratitude of life. You're also appreciating the small things and the big things, but little things. And when we start appreciating those little things, the doors start opening, the possibilities start popping out. There's so much power in that. Creative ideas start sparking. Adventures start coming to my mind. So many things have happened since this time that I couldn't have thought of, that I couldn't have got there and went past that spot, because I just needed to take the first little step to reset. And resetting for me was gratitude, mindfulness, meditation, reading, journaling, nature, walking, animals, connection. And the connection piece for me was last, because I didn't want to continue to tell the story of what's going on, because everyone wanted to know, out of love and concern, how are you doing, what's going on. And I just got so exhausted and tired of telling the story of all what had been on the last few months, the last few years, and where I am, and here I am. And so I would make videos and I'd be like, go watch this on YouTube. Here's the journey. I broke it into 10 videos. And if you go back to my real old videos on YouTube, on my CreateHealShine channel, actually on my Buckridge Homestead channel, was my cooking channel. I made that YouTube channel strictly to share with my children recipes and thoughts, because for after I'm gone. Because at that time I only had a few weeks, months at the most, maybe hours. They didn't even know. Minutes it could have been. So that channel really shows the journey before the decline, all of the things I was doing. I remember in one of those videos I was riding my electric bike around because I couldn't walk around the yard anymore. So I got an electric bike, and I would be able to go around and talk to people and check on my animals and do things to get around, because it was the only way. And I put a pair of garden gloves and some clippers in there, and so I went over to the forest and I got off the bike and I kneeled down and I just started clipping little branches in the trail. And I was like, that little thing felt productive to me in that moment. So there's all sorts of strange, interesting videos that I haven't been able to go back and watch yet, but one day I will. And I look and I was like, wow, you're so skinny. Wow, you're so many signs were there, and so many signs were there. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you feel like this could help somebody, please share this video, because everybody deserves a fresh start, a reset. And in my free community this June, we're starting a reset. We're actually going to be doing it all summer, June, July, August, so you can join in at any time. And it's going to be powerful. It's going to be real, and it's going to be activating. And so many beautiful things are going to come along with it. I'm excited. So join us on the sacred reset journey and come along with us. shed the old identity, and we'll be there every step of the way as we lift these burdens together and shift into what we want, one little tiny little baby step at a time. Not taking 100 leaps forward, but going inward, because the only place we need to go is inward. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day, beautiful friends.